Good morning, everyone. We are off to our FaceTime with Grant because he's going to be chatting with us from the Grant Berg Gallery. So let's go. All right. Hey, everyone. Here we are at, Grant is at the Grant Berg Gallery. We're chatting via FaceTime. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. How are you ladies?
Awesome.
Good. Yeah, we're excited to speak to you today.
Can you talk a bit about the gallery? So what has been the biggest change in the past year, I guess, since we've spoken to you last?
A lot of these things that I might mention today, we probably chatted about last year. And I'm learning some things take a long time to develop and come to fruition. So the biggest change is I'm working on 4 different, for lack of a better word, tours. Art is still our core business, but I'm seeing a lot of value in tourism, in particular, Indigenous tourism. And they've been amazing to me. I'm a member of Indigenous Tourism Alberta and Indigenous Tourism Canada. And so the 4 tours are in partnership with each organization. So there's a giant TV here that soon we'll be able to do presentations on. So I'm actually testing one tomorrow, and that will be on teaching people how to understand art and what to look for in art, but also music. So a little bit of background. Before I did the gallery, and this is our 9th anniversary in the gallery, but prior to that, I was in broadcasting for 29 years. So my entire adult life has been dedicated to bringing people music and art. And that goes back to when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. I was very sick with a kidney problem. In the end, they took my kidney out. But I had 6 major surgeries in 1 year. And over that time, music and art really helped get me through that. And understanding it, I find, has significant healing power. So we're going to start working on a program, again, literally tomorrow is the trial, and run a few people through it on how to connect with art and how to connect with music, to relax, slow down the world, because as we all know, we have our regular stresses, but politically around the world, there's a lot more stresses that we're not familiar with. So I want to teach people how to escape for 45 minutes or an hour and really work on their mental health using music and art. So that's one program. The other 3 are going to be video presentations. So on 2 levels. One is we will have the video presentation with me doing a voiceover. The other one will just simply be the video while I walk people through myself through the presentation. So one will be on my sculpture, because I've got a lot of great sculpture, I think, but it's all out in the world. And so I want to walk people through the sculpture and tell the stories behind it, including the one that you both are familiar with, the Paul Kayatinawak chess story. Another one is my family tree, which I find quite fascinating. It'll be the Indigenous side. And there's some famous Canadians and significant Canadians that are part of that tree. So I want to share their stories. And the final one, and we've talked about this probably even 2 years ago, is that children's story that I've been working on. I got a grant to actually have it illustrated now. So I'm actually going to walk over to a table here, and I'm going to show you some of the early images. And so this is a young Indigenous female artist named Phoebe Riel out of Calgary. Let's flip the camera around.
Beautiful. Wow.
So the character is Estina, and that's her grandma. And I won't tell the full story, but I'll just show you some of the illustrations that Phoebe's been doing.
Those are incredible.
They are, and they're so distinct. I love the artwork in them.
Yeah, I do too. I am so happy, that I found her on Instagram, actually. And so she's been working with this. So this was book 1, and it's 15 illustrations. Book 2, the contract was for 15 illustrations. And I love her work so much that I've actually extended the contract to get another 10 pages just to tell the story a little fuller,
Mm-hmm.
but also this one we're going to add a couple more pages too.
That one is so cute.
Yeah, so this is, again, the children's book is getting closer. I shouldn't call it a children's book. It's a children's story.
Mm-hmm.
But my intention now that I've got illustrations is to pitch it to publishers to turn it into a book. But that's always been the challenge, is being able to afford quality illustrations.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does cost, as it should.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
She's a very talented artist that's put a lot of work into these. So that's essentially the first story. So that's coming, and again, that'll be presented on the TV back over here.
Mm-hmm.
You must be so excited.
Oh, more than excited. She's exceeded my expectations, and I could walk you through fine details that she's put in there that I didn't anticipate, but are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
With the storytelling at the gallery, is there a favorite piece that you have?
Yeah. Again, I'm going to go take you on a little tour. This piece here from Steve Coffey is my favorite right now. It's called Shimmer Hills, and you can kind of see it's a sunset or sunrise over some mountains with some trees. But I'm going to take you up close, and the entire context of the painting changes as I get close.
Oh my gosh.
So, really quite different.
Yeah.
But as I back up...
That is so cool.
That's amazing. It reminds me of like the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's my favorite painting in the gallery right now is Shimmer Hills by Steve Coffey.
With the new art and things that you have in the gallery, and I guess a bunch of them that just sold, how has it been? Like, have you worked with any new artists?
Well, we do our Beauty of the Piece art competition each year. And this year, the winning artist is a local artist, Megan Oxy. And Megan did a young lady with a horse. And it was super up close, both faces, where the young lady's face is up against the horse. And it looks like a photograph. And so that was the winning entry this year. So we're excited to get Megan's artwork here in the gallery over the next year. And she's a terrific lady to work with, too. So that's probably the latest artist that we're bringing in.
Ooh. Can you speak a bit about the art competition?
Yeah, so what we do each year is I partner with a radio station that I used to work with. And the competition actually predates my gallery. So it's been around, 25, 30 years. And it's called Beauty of the Piece. And each year, amateur artists are invited to submit. And what we do then is, and it's typically around 20 to 25 artists that submit. And the winning entry, we actually take on as one of our artists here in the gallery and become one of our regular artists. And the beauty of it is it lets me see 25 amateur artists side by side by side and what people want, because we invite the public in to vote, and we typically get over 400 people through to come in and vote on the paintings, and they're all for sale. Again, our job with this competition is to develop professional artists. So everything's for sale. And we also get to see how artists advance each year, year over year. And I'll walk you over to another artist that never won, always finished in the top 3, but consistently sold. And so I brought her on, and now she's actually one of our top artists.
Oh, wow.
And so this is Elizabeth Hutchinson.
That's amazing.
And so again, she's a local school teacher here in Grande Prairie.
Wow. Is that a painting? Sorry.
It is,
right?
yes.
Okay, I'm like, it looks like a photograph.
Yeah, and I've actually got 2 more in the back that just came in.
Wow.
But there's 2 more.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah, and they're oil, so they're really spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
But this one here is one of the most popular paintings in the gallery at the moment.
I can see why. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, what's interesting is she dropped one off. So we got this guy here one weekend. The next weekend we got this. And then the following weekend she brought one more in. I put it on the wall. Literally the next person in bought it.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was great. Excuse me. Oh, so for what it's worth, here's some more Steve coffee. And again, look at this texture in there.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
So the thing with Steve, he often gets called the Canadian Van Gogh. And you back up and it turns into a beautiful scene.
Yes, yeah.
But up close, it's just a mess of color, which was my experience the very first time I saw a real Van Gogh painting in an art gallery in Houston. So again, it just looks like a mess, not really anything until you back up.
Oh my
gosh. The sky, that's so stunning.
Yeah, so Steve's also a musician with 12 CDs out, kind of folky, country. CKUA plays his music.
Okay.
And his wife is actually the former principal dancer for the Alberta Ballet.
Oh my gosh.
Barbara. So they're very artistic, and you can understand now the flow and the melody that you see in the sky.
Yes, yeah. That's so interesting. I find artists who, I don't know if cross-pollinate makes sense, but like, I guess dabble in other art forms, because you can see those art forms come through in the other work that they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so cool.
Yeah, well, and again, as you speak to that, Branko Marjanovic is an engineer, and you can just see his structure in his mountains. So each artist has their own history and background that naturally comes through. And so with Branko, it's that engineer and structure that you see in his work.
I love his colors.
Yeah. So he's a Calgary artist. Steve lives in Vulcan, Alberta. So as you guys are the Alberta Bound Besties, there's a couple of Alberta artists.
Like, I need to check them out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such beautiful work.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the difference is insane. Like, it's just so cool how art can be so different and yet like encapsulate similar things. Like, both have mountains, or like, this is what my sky looks like versus someone else's, and it's just like both totally stunning, but in completely different ways.
Yeah.
And even as I walk down this wall alone, if you want to analyze the sky, so Branko's is fairly muted, Steve's very alive, and then with Elizabeth, just nice and soft and subtle. Here's a Karen Coe. I think she's from Medicine Hat. But then over to Rod Charlesworth, an Ontario artist, and again, a very different style to his sky.
That's so cool.
But he's also another artist that likes a lot of texture.
Wow.
And then for what it's worth, I'll show you Masood Omer, and that'll basically wrap up the wall. But again, a lot of texture and warmth. I do run a business here in Grande Prairie as an art gallery, but I also have another 3/4-time job as city councillor here in Grande Prairie, and I sit on a number of committees and a number of boards as part of that. Plus, there was a couple of boards that I just sit on my own that I really want to engage with, and I never say yes to anything I don't want to do. And so all of these things that I do, I love and embrace and want to be involved and really help the community and the city grow and become a better place to live. So, but it can be a lot. And even if I am enjoying and loving every aspect of it, it is still something that I'm an introvert trained as an extrovert is what I say. So I still need time to recharge, and I need time to process my thoughts and feelings on the week. And if I didn't have a chance for that, I'd burn myself out real quick.
I think too, burnout is so real. And also when you're doing work like the work you're doing, where it's things that you enjoy. Because, you know, some people have a job that they absolutely hate. And then it's like, oh, yeah, it's just work. But then I think as soon as you start to enjoy your work, it becomes this thing where people are like, oh, but you like it anyway. And it's like, yeah, I like it, but I don't.
It's still a job.
Yeah, it's still a job, and I still shouldn't have to do it like 24/7 type thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And when we had first spoken as well, for folks who haven't seen, you're also an artist yourself, which you kind of mentioned with, you know, the book and like your writing. How has your art been?
Well, a large part of my life has been dedicated to developing these 4 different programs. And in all honesty, they are a lot of writing, structure, script writing, different things like that. But this is one of my sculptures that's here in the gallery. It's called Over the Bow. And again, I did explain this one last year. And so in a literal sense, it was inspired by a spruce tree that was leaning over the Bow River in Banff. And for the metaphor, though, and it speaks to my Indigenous ancestors, is they were planted in one of the most beautiful places on earth here in Alberta. And through no fault of their own, their roots got swept out from underneath them, and they began to fall. And when you, with these trees and with, you know, my ancestors, they had to adapt to a new world and a new situation. And so in this case of the tree, it rebalances itself and re-reaches for the sun. And because of its ability to adapt, it actually stands out now from the rest of the forest for its resilience and beauty. And so that's the story behind Over the Bow.
What has it been like? Because, you know, initially you, in your art, kind of started off like very hands-on in like sculpture and like creating physical art that way. And now the past little while has been a lot more like writing-based art, which, you know, still creating, but I guess it's like a different type of product. So how has that kind of shift been for you?
That all started in COVID because I was creating 12 to 20 sculptures a year leading into COVID. And COVID changed my mindset. And what I discovered is I wanted to be less physical, less dirty, because sculpting is extremely dirty and dusty and dries out my skin, as I mentioned, and my hair gets dry just due to that fine stone dust. And with COVID, I needed to deal with everything that was going on in my mind, the uncertainty. And again, we're in uncertainty again, just in a different way. So I find my mind needs to process and release a lot of that angst, I guess. And again, that's part of what I want to teach people is how do you deal with the stresses of the world? And all I can do is go from my example. So that's where my mind is going a lot. And I still do some sculpture, but probably 5 or 7 a year. More often than not, they're commissioned. And when I'm doing them, I absolutely love it. There is no denying it. But where I'm at is I really crave writing, because these ideas come to me just about every morning, and I just have to write them down. Another fun project, and I've been writing poetry and stuff since I've been 15, and I've got a handful of songs and song ideas that I actually think are pretty good. And I even co-wrote a song with Troy Kokel, who's a Calgary singer-songwriter, and I think it has amazing potential. And I'm trying to find either the right singer to sing it or maybe me sing it myself. And so I've got a friend here in Grande Prairie. His name's Matthew Dalen, and he's one of Canada's top tenors. And so basically an opera singer. And so he's been giving me singing lessons, because if you ask anybody in my immediate circle that's heard me sing, it's bad. And I know it's bad. But with Matthew, we're developing a stronger range. So more power and a broader range, so that maybe I can sing some things and hold the notes, but also when I do sing it, I can't sing it in the same key as Troy. Troy's an amazing singer. Just for a little bit of context, he wrote, him and his wife Joni wrote the song Pickup Truck by Shane Yellowbird, which I think is, as of a couple of years ago, ranked the 5th or 6th best Canadian country song of all time.
Wow.
And so I really want legs on this song, and I want the world to see it. So again, yeah, I'm taking some singing lessons from an opera singer to help me develop that. So again, it's an outside project. It takes a little bit of time, but it's something I'm passionate about and I love, and just expanding and growing that creative field that I get to play in.
That's so cool, because I feel like a lot of the times people either don't make the time to do something like that, or like follow a new passion, especially when you get older. It kind of seems like it's like, no, you go to work, you picked what you do, and that's what you do. You stay on that path. So I think it's so interesting to see that you're still willing and wanting to branch out into different art forms. I think that's very cool.
Yeah, thank you. And I think part of that goes back to when I was 14 years old and going into surgery 5 of 6. I said goodbye to my family because we didn't know if I'd live through the surgery and live to see the end of the day. And when I woke up, I had a new appreciation for life and a new zest for life, that I know it's limited, and I know that how short it can be. So I'm just trying to cram in as much as I can while I've got it and have the ability to. So even using another example of some family history, where both of my grandfathers passed away or had cancer at 72. My dad had cancer at 72, but he survived it, and eventually it came back and passed away at 83. And so I've always used that 72 as a benchmark, that everything that I want to do has to be done by the time I'm 72, because the history says that I will probably have cancer. Now, I could be like my dad and recover and get another 8 or 9 years of quality, but I know a lot of people that have cancer, they don't get that quality after it. So I have to seize these days, to carpe diem, to quote a movie, but that's basically how I live, because I know that it's limited.
We know that you have a gallery to open pretty quick, so we'll ask you our favorite last question and then let you be on your way. What would you say is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
I honestly don't know. I've had so many amazing, influential people in my life, and it's their actions that have spoke louder than their words. And so when you ask the question, nothing comes to mind. Even with time to process and prepare, no quote or idea comes to mind specifically. But I do follow and mirror and emulate actions of some good people that I've surrounded myself with over the course of my life. I always like to surround myself with people that are smarter and better than me, because, I think that we can lift each other up. But I learn so much from these people. They intrigue me. So no quote comes to mind. But again, I've got books of my own quotes, and I can't say that there's any one of my own quotes, actually, that really comes to mind. I was asked at the book signing the same question or something quite similar, and I didn't have an answer. And I answered with something that I feel. Like, people ask, how do you do all of the stuff that you do? And I just say, I simply show up. And what I found as I go through life is there's so many opportunities and so many amazing things that people just don't show up for. And they miss out on so many things in life. And so when I get invited to something fun, even if I don't have the time, I'll make the time. And it's just part of that showing up. And again, I know it's lame, but it's the best I got.
No, I think that's great.
I think it holds a lot more power than you're giving it credit for.
Yes,
so.
for sure.
And again, showing up by extension too, that's for friends. As I mentioned, there's so many people that are close to me that I love that are really struggling. And I want to be there for them. And so that's part of life too, is showing up for the people that matter.
Yeah. For sure.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
And thank you. And again, I really wish we could have met face to face, because that's always fun and great for some laughs. But I thank you for incling me once again.
Well, thank you so much. You're always such a great person to interview. We love speaking with you. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. We just finished up with Grant, and it's always so nice to talk to him, honestly. So refreshing.
Literally always, like such a pleasure, because he's so artistic and so real, and I feel like thinks about things on a deeper level, maybe. Like when we were talking about like not building things to like last anymore, like I don't know why that thought has literally never crossed my mind, but it's so true. Like
it is.
Our society today, I don't feel like is necessarily building things to last. Like what impact are we gonna have on the world? You know, and now I'm in an existential crisis of like, oh my gosh, what am I leaving behind? What am I doing to the world? Like I'm not building a Colosseum. I'm not a
like
Rocky
me
Mountain.
Neither, girl.
Like I don't know. But it's really fun and really awesome. The art is incredible. I'm always in such awe of artists who make art with their hands, because I cannot. And just the texture and the colors and the vibrancy and the differences in the art in the gallery. I mean, I guess that's exactly what you want in a gallery, because you don't want a bunch of the same art.
Fair.
But
I agree with you, though.
Yeah.
I definitely see it. It's so interesting, just even like, because we did get to go and visit the gallery when we were in Grande Prairie, and just like being able to look at all the art and all the new stuff and all the stuff he's like hung up, and just like all the new artists she has. It's very very interesting, and it's very cool to see like they're kind of the same paintings but in different, like their own different styles. You'll see like a bunch of different ones from the mountains, but like you were saying, they're all different, so you kind of never get sick of it in a way.
And I also love it too, because all the artists are, you know, either Canadian or Albertan, or like, I was going to say Grande Prairiean, but I know that there's like outside artists. So like Canadian.
Yeah.
Because Grant likes to keep folks, you know, like local. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. But anyway, my point is like, I find it so cool that it's like, how you were saying, similar arts in the sense of, you know, it's a bunch of mountains. Like some of them, there's a lot of other art there too. But this idea that all of them are inspired because, you know, they all live in Canada, and in Canada we have mountains. And so it's, I don't know, just like the thought of taking the thing or something from the place you live and being inspired by it and being able to paint. And I think back to last year when we visited Grant, and I forget the artist's name, but he was from somewhere else, and he said that Jasper, Alberta was the most beautiful place he'd ever seen in his life. And I always think about that, because there have been like 3 other people in my life who have also said that, and I'm like, that's so crazy. Like, to us, Jasper is just Jasper.
Like Jasper, like, oh, if we didn't plan a trip in the summer, you go to Jasper, kind of thing, which is crazy to think about, because a lot of people come, this is so off topic, but a lot of people like specifically fly for like the mountains in Jasper and Banff. And it's like, that's so crazy, just how the beauty, we're so used to it that it's like we kind of overlook it in a way. And then you have someone from like outside of Canada come in, they're like, it was beautiful, I'd love to live here, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, you kind of like relight that love for it, I guess. I don't know. Yeah,
exactly. And I guess like tying it back to my point, I swear I have a point. I wasn't just rambling on a topic. But my point being that, you know, people are able to encapsulate the beauty of the mountains and of these things from the place that they live. And it's just like art, you know? And I'm excited. I want to order Grant's 4th book, because
we loved
his
3 books, so we have to.
Super awesome. And I'm so excited for the children's story that he's
my
writing.
goodness,
the art
looks so good. I know,
you
like
guys.
I know the writing is gonna be amazing, and the art was like, even without the words, we knew exactly what the story was telling. So I'm excited to see it all put together.
Me too. Excited to see it on the shelves. Excited to download his single album. I don't know, whenever it comes out on Spotify. And I don't know why I said Spotify. I use Apple Music. No hate to Spotify users, but I use Apple Music, so I look forward to that. But if you're in Grande Prairie or traveling to Grande Prairie, check out the Grant Berg Gallery because the art is amazing. Grant is amazing. Just like do it.
Just do it. Check it out.